to Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the Joy of Being Alive stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. And I want to know where you're coming from on Earth. Where do we find you? Sorry, my microphone is getting loaded. Excellent. Okay, folks, where on Earth are you coming from here? We got folks popping into the chat left and right. Oh my God, wait, no, this is old chat. Okay. Oh, Denny's back. Welcome back, Denny. So nice to see you. Lovely. Welcome from uptown New York, Harlem area, if I'm not incorrect. We have 613 style coming in from Northern California. I realize NorCal. Sacramento, wait, Nevada City. Where is that? Where is Nevada City in California? I don't really remember. Okay. Oh, Kingston, Ontario. Lovely. Nice to see you, Rory. Sorry, I'm hunting. A little moth. We don't know why. We haven't figured it out yet, but we have some moths. Okay, welcome from Kingston, Ontario. Lovely to have you here. Rainy morning here. Yeah, it's rainy here. It's really rainy. It's actually, I went outside to walk the dog, and I was like, damn, this is rainy as hell. So, where else are folks coming from here? Where on this planet do we find you? Where art thou? Folks, very excited today. I got some exciting news. We're going to be meditating today. That's right. Right on time. And yeah, excited that we're going to be getting to practice together. Beep up is, yeah, so tell me on this planet where you're coming from, and then we'll jump right in. I've been sort of toying between a couple different meditations that I might want to do, and basically these are ones we've done recently, so tell me which you'd prefer. One is the meditation where we're actually looking at any challenging emotions, or even not even challenging, but the system pushing and pulling in any direction, like any clinging or aversion, trying to feel that as part of the overall experience of the body, and holding that in kind awareness, letting those sort of impulses pass. It's good for equanimity, good for metabolizing emotion, good for getting sensitive to those clinging and aversion urges. Morning. Jean coming to us, I think, still from Brooklyn. Welcome. Let's see. And then the other one was the one we did, I think, last time we were here, which is just a gratitude practice. That was really fun, I found. Very fulfilling. Felt very enjoyable. So yeah, what do folks want? What do people want? I think I'm able to launch a poll in the chat, which I'm a poll, but I don't know anything about that. Beep up. I guess I can't do it right now. D dot. No, manage, no, none of those. Okay, no, forget that. Okay, hello from Toronto. Sporty Risk Girl, welcome. Nice to see you here. Glad to have you here. Thank you for letting me into your living room or wherever the hell you are. How are people watching? I'm curious. Are people on their desktop? Are you in your car? Nick always lets us know where you physically are, but curious where, how are you watching this? Am I in your living room? This hot water today, boy, really right temperature. Spicy. I think it's dairy. I've been having dairy lately, and I think that's why I'm headphones on sofa. Excellent. I tend to be a little coffee during the meditation. Headphones on sofa, that sounds like a nice arrangement. I'm in my living room on the laptop. See, this is the kind of detail that really fills in the blanks for me. It's really helpful in terms of to know what folks are up to. Do you ever do pure concentration meditation? I do. I haven't done any in a long time. I think it's partially because I feel like people come with their own samadhi practice. I'm on the phone in a casino. Wow, very exciting. Beep up is pure concentration meditation. I haven't done a series in a while. I've been thinking about going back to it. Basically, I feel like I want to like revamp the way I do teach concentration practice. But basically, what I'll do is no, just straight concentration practice. You know what it is? Here's the real skinny. I like insight. I like insight practice. I'm a person who likes insight practice. So if you don't know what that is, basically, you could say, I would say, it's funny because the word concentration, whatever. So balancing of mind. So just stabilizing the mind in perpetuities or in continuity. So that's part of the premise of just a concentration practice, where we're just trying to settle the mind and get it into a place where it's very clear or continuous, balanced, stable. I like insight practice. I like exploring and discovering. I like the sense of like, ooh, what's this? And like a sense of delight and discovery. And that's a major driver for me in practice. So I tend not to gravitate and do a lot of concentration practice. Although you'll notice that each one of my practices begins with some degree of a samadhi practice. Although someone suggested something recently, which is when I'm going to do a samadhi practice, to just say, do your samadhi practice, in case somebody has some different samadhi practice, which might be a good idea. Sporty Race Girl, desktop in my office at home on the second floor. These are, okay, folks, I didn't know this would be the case. I really like these details. These are fun details. It's really interesting to me to like place people where they actually are experiencing this, because it is just such a weird void. I'm like, okay, this person exists. They're here with us, but to have like a little bit of architecture, so cool. Very cool. We got 613 hanging out on the couch, Jean in the living room on the laptop, Zen Mind on the phone in the casino. I wonder if you're watching or if you're just gambling away, just listening in one ear. I realized that like in my mind, I'm like, you couldn't listen to something in one ear and be at the casino. And they're like, they wouldn't care. They would not care at all. They just let you gamble. Desktop in my home on the second floor. Very interesting. Okay, folks. So right now there are a few options on the floor. I'm leaning a little bit away from just a pure concentration practice, although I don't know why. I feel like I just have a little bit of aversion to doing that. I feel like I only like to do it in series. Like if we're going to do it like for a month or several months, then I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me. But I'm like, let's get to the insight part. Maybe that's just my prejudice. That is just my prejudice. Okay, so right now we're talking about potentially we could do a samadhi heavy gratitude practice, or we could do a samadhi heavy observing emotion or clinging and aversion from awareness. What are folks interested in? What do you folks want? And what typically happens is one or two people vote, and then they just decide for everyone else. So if you have a say, if you have a perspective, you might want to let me know. Meditation A, gratitude. Meditation B, processing clinging, aversion, and consciousness through awareness. Purification through awareness. I realized I wasn't gonna ask this. Also, I'm asking so many questions. If somebody has a formula so that you don't have, and forgive me for talking about something yucky, but if you don't have phlegm, so that when you're singing or talking or whatever, you don't have to so much, because that's my experience lately. Jean says both sound good, leaning towards B. I realize, P.S., this is a pro tip, that the gratitude practice, you could just use it in the same way. Actually, you know what, now that I think of it, I think we should just combine the two. Okay, B. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do B, basically, but what I want to do is I talk about awareness, but I want to talk about it from the perspective of kind awareness. Okay, so if anyone does not know the way I define awareness, it's very similar to the way Utejaniya, a well-known meditation teacher in Burma, does, and the way similar overlapping with someone like Chula Dasar, the mind illuminated system. So awareness is the part of the mind that simply knows experiences. It tends to be experienced when we open up to a larger set of material, but I think the reason for that is that we're so used to using the sort of zoomed in version that it's hard to notice awareness when it's smaller, although we can have awareness when it's smaller. So we tend to, when we zoom out, we have this feeling that that's where awareness lives, although it's actually anywhere. So it's not just awareness. It's not just the knowing part of the mind. It's the kind awareness. So we're going to work with that today because I think that it's actually a good balance of a nurture positive practice and a kind of balanced samadhi practice, a balanced, balance of mind practice. So we're charging that kind of awareness or that awareness with a little bit of kindness, and in this case, a little bit of just gratitude. So it's effectively welcoming. This is, Chilladasa describes it as a welcoming awareness. This is actually just much more receptive. It's an awareness that is much more open to whatever's happening. So whatever happens, we welcome it. In this case, we're going to be welcoming anything like clinging, aversion, unconsciousness. But I don't want you to think so strictly about what we mean by clinging and aversion. Often people think of like really wanting or like I need my life to be different, but the system is clinging in all these very, very, very subtle ways. So the fact that as you're listening to this, I'm saying a sentence and the mind is waiting for the end of the sentence where all of the meaning will come together and you'll understand, and it'll just feel super good if I finally finish the sentence, although it's hard for me to finish the sentence because I'm making a point, and until I make that point, right, you can notice that there's a kind of tension there in the mind waiting for the meaning to unfold, although I sort of explained myself halfway through the sentence, so it's an example, but just the mind making meaning, the mind waiting for time to occur, the system wanting to physically move the body, any emotion in the body, any sort of sensation which is indicating a call to action, which is a lot of what emotion is, it's sort of pushing us. We like something. I like this, as though it needs to reach out and grab it. I don't like this, in these subtle ways. So any of these pushing and pulling, and if you have none in your system, then often the case is we're not looking subtly enough, or if we have none, great. Notice the absence of the clinging and aversion. Notice if the system is clinging to that. I want more of this. I want this to continue. So often we can deconstruct, even if there is clinging, know that it's natural. We're not trying to get rid of it. That's very, very important. We're not trying to get rid of clinging. We're actually trying to welcome it, and that actually takes away its power. So that is the general pre-instruction, and then we'll guide through the material itself. Any questions before I begin? I said a bunch of stuff here. I want to make sure that no one's confused about what we're about to do. There will be guidance, but just to make sure there's no questions. Excuse me. Okay. Without any questions, folks, I'm going to encourage you to stay still for the duration of the sit. That means not moving the body. So finding a nice comfortable position, typically with you're facing this way, this is your hips sitting at the edge of your cushion or chair, so the hips can rock down just slightly. It's probably about this much movement, and this allows the lower spine to curve, balance the upper spine all the way through the crown of the head. Is basically just a balance, and you're finding a kind of balance from the tailbone through the crown of the head. If you need to move, two reasons you can move. One is that you feel like it and you wait 30 seconds and you move very mindfully, carefully, slowly. The other one is if overwhelm begins to, even starts to peak, try just making a little adjustment or opening the eyes, or if you'd like to stop the meditation entirely. That is very skillful. So once you found that nice position, we will begin. We haven't engaged the puppy cam today, but we have a puppy sighting. Okay, we're about to start, so we won't do that yet. Let's have a toy for the dog. Let me hide that. She's going to come over here and want it. Okay, so when you find that nice comfortable position, we will begin. Okay. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. As we begin our meditation, we begin with the momentum of all of the previous moments. Part of the process of meditation is slowing down and beginning to see this momentum. So noticing the speed that the mind is moving. How can we tell this? Well, as we observe the sensations of the body, simply breathing in and out, the rising and falling of the torso as the breath comes and goes. Notice that it's more or less easy to stay with the sensations. And this range of challenge, how easy or difficult it is to stay with the sensations of the body breathing. This is an indication of the speed of the mind at this moment. The mind might be racy, overly active, or spacey, meaning sleepy or foggy, and simply knowing this is often enough to cut right through it. And as we physically relax the body, letting go of the major muscle groups, seeing if we can relax more deeply, even beyond what we can physically feel. Relaxing all the way down to the bone, as though we could literally release the muscles from the body and let them float away. And as we're releasing the muscles in the body, see if we can do this globally, all over, in all directions, all of the muscles. And this is a nice way to begin to see if we can feel all of the sensations in the body, the general capture of all the body sensations. And as we let go of the doing that's required for relaxing, seeing if we can find a way for awareness to take in the overall experience of the body. Searching for the part of the mind that can just hold the general experience of the body. And without adding a lot of doing. In fact, adding as little doing as possible. We're going to do something once and see what it feels like throughout the body. We're going to say and direct thanks to the body, just a bit of gratitude, again with as little efforting as possible. And the mind simply saying thank you to the overall experience of the body. And then feeling the body. And again, the mind saying, and especially meaning, being truthful, saying thank you. Letting go of any doing and then feeling the body. And what if the awareness that we were contacting the body with were welcoming in this way? It was so open to the experience of the body that it welcomed it in. Thank you. Thank you. We're not trying to increase the experience of gratitude. We're simply trying to open and allow a little bit of warm, welcoming experience. Seeing how subtle we can make this. How small of a change we can apply so that the awareness itself is open, welcoming, generous in its receptivity. And turning that generous, kind awareness to anything that the mind isn't including in our experience of the body. Maybe it's an experience of self, or the assessing part of the mind. This is good or bad, I like or dislike. Or there's a viewer back there somewhere. Including that. And perhaps saying thank you, or perhaps simply allowing this welcoming quality to pervade. And whatever particular sensation arises, whatever detail the mind finds that awareness has contact with, introducing that detail to the overall experience of the body. Using the open awareness as a kind of medium. The soft, vaporous material that this connection can be made through. So for instance, we notice some sensations, some emotion, some preferring, some selfing. The mind will naturally zoom into this. And so we simply feel the sensations that are around it, eventually including the whole body. And repeat the process over again. Introducing the particular to the whole. We may find that the gratitude is helpful, is a kind of lubricant, allowing this process to happen more easily. Or we may not. So deciding now that we want to use the gratitude or even the phrase thank you to introduce the part to the whole, or simply an open, receptive awareness. Perhaps we find our own word or phrase or way of holding awareness. But whatever arises, gently, generously introducing it to the overall experience of the body. Knowing that part of this process is to see if we can develop continuity. How continuously, without break, can we arrange these parts, this process? How much can we experience it continually? And if we judge our skill, or we want a different level of ability, simply rolling this into the practice. as we do this process, we may find that distractions arise. And so we either can simply ignore those distractions, or if we find it works for us today, we can allow awareness to include all distractions. Simply letting awareness be the size of whatever arises. Introducing any preferring, any pushing or pulling, any emotion, any judging, simply introducing these sensations to the overall experience of human sensing. And so at this stage in the practice, according to the guidelines I've laid out, nothing can actually go wrong. Whatever arises simply feeds back into the process. And if some part of us feels like something is off or wrong, even if it's distraction or annoyance, simply accepting this as nature, not fighting it unless we do fight it, accepting that fighting is nature, and introducing it to the overall experience of awareness. We're typically not used to staying with the whole experience, the overall experience. The mind likes to divide the world into thoughts, into stories, into likes and dislikes. So we're introducing these tendencies to divide to this kind, welcoming awareness. You may notice that this kind awareness doesn't need anything to be different. Doesn't need clinging to not be clinging. Or judging to not be judging. It simply sees them as other friendly characters. Worthy of being welcomed into the overall experience of kind awareness. And for a moment, let's tune into any part of us that maybe struggles a bit, has maybe lately felt like something is wrong, something is off. Usually when we have contact with this kind of part of us, we get pulled in. It feels like me. But with gentleness, the same welcoming awareness, welcoming that part to the experience of all sensing or all sensation in the body. And the mind simply saying, thank you. Thank you. These parts of us that worry or fear, they're trying to navigate the world. They're trying to make it safe for us. And so in this moment, just allowing a bit of safe space for them. Thank you. Allowing them a few moments of not needing to be any different at all. Thank you. Thank you. And staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes, eventually resting the eyes on a single point that is not a screen and not text. Letting the spaciousness of seeing be a medium through which we expand awareness. Perhaps even having a sense that if we let go deeply enough, we we could just dissolve into this awareness. And in this way, allowing this particular moment to be the great teacher, to show us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. So, what was that experience like? What happened and what do you like now? Allow yourself to make any physical adjustments you need to. Allow yourself to readjust anyhow you'd like. Let's see here. Setting up the doggy cam. Okay, folks, what was that like? We have a little comment here. Time for doing these. I don't get to talk much because I'm at work, but it helps me a lot with the stress of being at a call center. RSN Tim, great to hear that. Glad this is helpful. Glad you're here. Understand you can't talk that much. Speaking of talking that much, as people are getting ready to do their reports, I'm going to put the Zoom link in the chat if you want to jump on by voice or visually to let me know, and we'll pop you in here. It'll be great to chat, a little interview. And I can ask more specific questions. You can get more specific answers. Let's get the doggo. Sila. Look what I got. Look what I got. I got a sock with a tennis ball in it. Yeah, come here. Hold on. Let's get the doggy cam going. Doggy cam. There we go. There we go. Her favorite toy. Yeah, so what was that experience like? Challenges, difficulties, interests, opportunities. Yeah, you go. She's a ratter, meaning they were bred to hunt rats, so she'll try to kill it by shaking her head, which is funny. Like that. She's trying to snap the rat's neck. Although when she sees actual rats on the street, she just doesn't care at all. We're in New York, so every once in a while there'll be like a dumpster and you'll see rats. And you're like, ooh, rats. And she'll just be like, she doesn't care. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it. She freaks out. I think I've told you guys this. She freaks out when you touch her body when she's playing tug. So, wait. Hopefully this is what people signed up for. Oof. Okay, enough doggy cam. Folks, what was that experience like? Hit me. No. She's climbing up here. Look at her. She's trying to get at the toy. Oops. Let's just do straight up doggy cam. Hi, Sila. I don't know if you can even see her. Oh wait, where is this? Not facing this way. So, folks, yeah, what was that experience like? Oh, here we go. We have a nice little report here. Okay. back to reality here. There she is. Okay. Oh, we got a few reports coming in, popping in. Here we go. Let's listen to these reports. Computer. Activate voice translation simulation. Denny says,
that was wonderful. I didn't meditate from last Tuesday onwards, so it was nice to get back in the practice again. Some self-criticism that came up, which I was able to make room for. Additionally, I really was able to make use of your recycle the reaction advice, very helpful and fruitful. I also have a question. When you say experience in the body, do you include sound too?
So generally when I'm talking about experience in the body, I'm generally just referring to raw body sensation. So while we can listen to the body and using the sort of hearing nerves to listen to the body, which often is a way to tap into very deep quiet, which we can talk about. It's a very interesting, I find it very interesting. You can get into like some intense hear rest, like silence experiences, listening to sensations, because sensations have no sound. So I'm generally just referring to physical sensations in the body. However, we open to what will often happen when you hold like a kind of pocket of awareness, like the body. It'll feel like there's these intrusive things. You're like trying to hold it, and then sound will be a distraction. Okay, well, let's include the body and sound. Okay, these two together, that's fine. And then mental, visual, and a sense of seeing will intrude. It's partially because awareness likes to just include everything. It wants to sort of be this blob that includes every sensory experience. So there can be a bit of a tension between just holding the body and holding everything. So that's a little bit of a caveat there, but it's great that you're able to recycle the reaction. And if folks don't know what that means, it's a very important way of practicing, which is part of what we did today. I think any complete practice, any practice that you could do continuously or have be your total practice that you use for your entire life has some aspect of recycle the reaction where whatever is occurring, you can feed it back into the meditation, and that's the way to sort of deepen the practice. Something I find is that often there's this sense that there's something that's not included in the practice. There's like, the annoyance, that doesn't count, or I'm judging myself, like that's not something I should pay attention to. Or the judging is like, oh, that's not a thought, that's just the system evaluating. But typically it's things we're just not sensitive to experientially, so we're including those, and by including those, it takes away a lot of their power. Often it's the unconsciousness of these things that makes them problematic. So by really deeply allowing them consciously, it often breaks them down. Again, we don't need to break them down, but that's often the effect. So here is Jean with a little report.
I had a couple of notable moments, but I've sort of forgotten them. I'll comment again if they come back to me. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. Overall, my mind was fairly distracted for the first part. I think because I did some lazy holiday lounging, my mind was trying to gear up to make up for it with a bunch of activity.
Got it.
Eventually my mind calmed down, and generally any time I came back to the meditation from distraction, I was able to focus on the whole body sensation and saying thanks.
Lovely, lovely. So hopefully in the end that was a good combination of the gratitude practice and the practice that I was describing. So I think they actually lend themselves to each other. I did give you the option, you could use the gratitude or not, but that was, I'm curious if folks chose one or the other, if one worked better for them or not. What was happening for me today? Oh yeah, there's some point I was using thank you, and then at some point I changed it to something worked much better for me, but I didn't want to like introduce another factor. It was one part was I was saying may you be peaceful, which is a phrase I've used extensively, so it's very habitually easy. But I think I was saying, instead of thank you, was saying welcome. And that was actually cutting through a lot of it for me. It's just like, oh, welcome. So what else, folks? What other bits and bops do you want? Life challenges, difficulties, interest, opportunities, needs. What else is coming up for folks? I have this creeping sense that there's someone who wants to get on the Zoom but isn't. And that's okay. No pressure. And I'm going to recommend or I'm going to encourage, if you want to get on the Zoom, let me know and I'll pop it open and we can chit-chat like kitty cats. I realize that a lot of people are probably more used to Discord as a way to chat. And actually, we tried that in the past and it didn't work. But I think we figured that out, and I think we can get it to work now. So And let me know if you want the doggy cam to come back on, because I do have a doggy here. I don't know if you can see it. She thinks all socks are tennis balls. I'm sorry, she thinks all socks are tennis balls. She's so crazy. No, she thinks that all socks are play toys. So she's often walking around nipping us in our feet. I need to raise this above the chat. There we go. She often is walking around nipping at her feet, sort of wondering, like, why do you have toys on your feet? Like, why would that not be like a thing where I get to play with that? So she'll like walk around and bite her ankles. What a cutie. You can get it. Oh, she'll use her hands. I don't know if you can see this. She's using her hands, and that's like a sign of intelligence, but it's so cute. She'll like grab it. She'll use both hands. There she goes. And she'll like tie herself into like a little knot. Trying to get at it. Anyway, dogs. Okay, what else, folks? Anything else? No pressure, if you prefer not. But that's what's up. That's what's going on. It's funny. I wasn't able to record today because the recorder. If you don't, it's so weird. I've never had the experience that if you don't, like, you can just pull a card out of a computer and it doesn't matter. It doesn't make any difference. Nothing happens. But if you, in this one recorder on my audio recorder, if you don't eject it properly, it will not work in the recorder. So I wasn't able to record today, which is annoying because I thought today went pretty well. But I think it's sort of funny. Okay. Zen Mind says, is there nothing without prior? Is there nothing without prior to or beyond the word nothing? ? That is a lot of words. I'll try to go back to it. Okay, maybe this is meant to be a koan. It's meant to be confusing. Is there nothing without? Am I misreading this? Is there nothing without prior to? Oh, maybe there's a comma. Is there nothing without, comma, prior to or beyond the word nothing? ? Is there anything other than the word nothing? Well, it depends how you define thing. The mind divides the world into infinite things. So yes, there are many things aside from the word nothing. Yeah. You could maybe rephrase it to say, like, is there anything aside from the experience of emptiness? That's a non-dual question. That question would be basically, is there anything besides non-dual awareness? And the answer would be yes, the experience of duality, which is an illusion, but is also an experience. So I don't know if that answers your question. Okay, so folks, sounds like people are ready to rip out of here, get the hell out of doggy cam, get back to their lives. So that is, there you go. That is totally understandable. I have no problem with that. So if that's the case, what I'm going to do here is release the beast. Okay, leave it. Good girl. She is such a good leave it. That's one of the things I'm the happiest about her. She's just so good at just, you say leave it. She's like, okay. Okay, let's I'm going to change the name of this thing to Doggy Cam because it's hard to find. Rename. Okay, properties, rename. No. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so folks, I have a wish for you here. I have a wish for you. Folks, in this particular moment, usually somebody scrapes in right. See, here we go. This is what I expected right at the last second here. Okay. Denny, Black Skull. Oh, Denny, I never figured out how to pronounce the Merton. Is it Black Skulls Merton, or is it Smerton? Anyway, I don't know the pronunciation, but let's hear what Denny has to say. Computer, voice activate.
I've also been wondering. I've been finding it difficult to separate the awareness from the part of my brain that thinks, oh geez, I need to take stock of all my body sensations and cycles through all the different feelings. Eventually I can sort of feel that I sink into a state of awareness, but it's very fleeting. Black Skulls, Merton, Shosholes.
It's sh-oles. So Black Shoals, Merton. Okay, Black Scholes. Black Scholes Martin. Okay. Okay, whatever it is, I know this sounds like an annoying teacher thing to say, but whatever it is, just recycle it back into awareness. Once awareness at the beginning is often fleeting. It feels very not noticeable. It feels very subtle. It feels very what's it called? Feels very fleeting, like you said. It feels very obscure. But as we get used to it, as we get used to the taste of it, as we get used to its qualities, it just becomes more and more available, more and more noticeable. So let's do a little exercise since people are still here, and this is one of my favorite exercises to do. We might even do a whole meditation on this because it's so much fun. Which I think that as the 15 meditations that I typically give to people does not have this in there. Okay, this is I'll open this Black Scholes model. I'll look that up. Okay, I'm gonna Mertem. Okay, I'll look it up. Okay, so the point is that okay, here's what I want you to do. This is one of my favorite exercises. Go ahead and feel the sensations in your left hand. I'm gonna put my hand down, but this is what a left hand looks like. So go ahead. You can even look at the sensations of your left hand, right? Okay, now listen to the sound of the room that you're in. Pretty easy. Nothing big there. Go ahead once again and feel the sensations in the left hand. You can even squeeze the hand if it's easier. Okay, and listen to the sounds in the room. Now the mind can compare those two because it's a pretty easy comparison. One is the sensations in my hand, yeah, I kind of know what that feels like, and then one is the sounds in the room. The mind is good at comparing. They're quite different, but they're just two different sets of sensations. Now what I want you to do is something else. Again, you can look at your hand if you want, but listening. The cute doggy is now laying down, sleeping. That's very sweet. So now listen, which is louder? The sounds in the room or the sound of the sensations in your hand? And typically you couldn't just listen to the sounds of the sensations in your hand because they're so quiet. I mean, there's just no sound there. It's like a vacuum. But your mind can compare the two. And you might be able to notice that the sound of the sensations is very, very quiet, like crazy quiet, like so quiet it's terrifying. And the mind will say, no, you can't listen to this. We don't listen to this part of human experiencing. But you can listen even though it's deeply silent. And so that silence is one of the attributes that awareness has. Silence, stillness, and space is often what people will describe. So listening to that total absence of sound. Sometimes it feels like impossible, and then there's moments when you can touch it, and you may get the sense, you may not, this is my experience, that it's almost like a vortex. It's almost like, holy shit, like it's so absent of sound. It can be very intense, actually. So that may be your experience. Let's try another one before we go. What was the other one I wanted to try? Oh yeah. Go ahead and look at any color in the room that you're in. Right? Just pick a color, green, blue, whatever. And listen, which is louder? The room or space that you're in, or that color? Or seeing in general, if you want. And you may be able to notice that seeing is freaky deaky silent. Seeing by its nature doesn't have sound, which means if we listen to it, we can hear crazy levels of silence. Now this might be weird and obscure. If you can't contact this, don't worry. There's not anything wrong with you. And that is it's like a loophole in sensing. It's like a trick to help us move towards sensing things that are very, very obscure, subtle, or absent the non-existence of something, and that non-existence of something, well, now we're dipping directly into emptiness, which is a very significant part of the contemplative tradition, is emptiness. So hopefully that's interesting. We could even do a whole stream on that idea if it was hard to get, because I only did it for a few seconds. You know what I mean? So, what's the point? Oh, I think I found is there a mistake here? Oh, interesting. My automatic thing is sending people to the wrong Discord. Womp womp. Okay, I gotta fix that. Okay, so the point of it all is, okay, the point of it all is, folks, I have a wish for you. Okay, good. So Denny, you had some access to it. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, is at first it's very fleeting. It's like, oh, you have it for a second, or just like an instant of it. But it's not only is that a good way to tell the system you can begin to detect something and detect it more and more and more and detect it more frequently, it is actually a route to detecting an aspect of awareness and an aspect of emptiness that is just stunning, that is really, really, really deep and can feel like this sort of vortex of depth. So play with that, have fun. We can do it again if you want to do it. We can, if you request it, Freaky Friday, we just make it up. So, okay, before we go here, we have a nice little comment here from our friend, Before Samuel, don't know if you or anyone else is not a follower, but I can encourage you right now, if you'd like to, go ahead and follow, and then you can be part of the community, and we can know when we go live, and you can have all sorts of good times. All right, let's hear what Before Samuel says.
Good early morning from Australia. At first I thought my hand was incredibly loud with unpleasant emotions, but I've got the idea now with the visual version. I'm actually listening for sound and not intensity. That is great.
Exactly, and it's also powerful because I think our system, the body-mind, the sort of sensory system, tells us the world is very solid and tells us it is exactly one way, but all of that gets blown out of the water as soon as we start looking very closely at it. This is often what psychedelics will do, is it'll sort of shift perception around through our senses, and that is it'll rewrite our experience of the world. But we can do that on our own, and in a way that's much more sustainable and integrated in our lives through meditation. But that's a trick that I remember I was teaching a class, and we did this thing which I thought was really fun, and maybe I'll do it again one day. But it was like a thing where we would all call in and have headphones in and be walking around in the city, and I would be guiding these people who would be walking in different places. Super fun, super interesting. And one of the things I was noticing was the city was loud, and I said, listen to something quiet, listen to your footsteps. And I was like, oh, listen to your legs. And I was like, whoa, listen to the sound of your hips. And I was like, whoa. It was like the sound of the city, which is like rumbling and sirens and whatever, and then the sound of the physical movement of the hips. I was like, this is insane. There's nothing there. It was like this void of absence. It was like very powerful. So, good times, folks. Wish for you in this particular moment, right here, right now, is to tune into, what's the meditation we did? I usually try to make the wish related to and connected to the meditation. Oh, we did that. All right, okay. So notice any particular detail, right? The mind will pull you towards lots of little details in your environment, and see if right now, in this particular moment, you can bring those details into the experience of the whole, the overall, not just all of seeing, but all of seeing, hearing, and feeling. Notice that this gives you this little jolt into a kind of timelessness, a kind of centerlessness. The mind is able to carry our experience in a way that's soft and open, welcoming. It doesn't have all the troubles that we usually navigate the world through. A kind of medium that is spacious, open, generous. So in this particular moment, letting this piece of data, this input, take us and show us the richness of human experiencing. And my wish for you is simply that this is available in this moment, and maybe even throughout the rest of the day. So folks, as always, practice well, take care of each other, have fun. And we'll see you in fewer than 48 hours. In other words, very, very soon.